Hi guys, that's me Robbie from EnglishHarmony.com. Welcome back to my video blog, and this video is going to be a response to one comment that I received recently on my blog, on the latest blog post to be more specific, and the blog post is called "Sometimes it makes more sense to acquire English vocab as part of figurative speech." And in this blog post I'm touching upon the subject of learning specific English nouns as part of collocations and phrases where they're used in a different meaning than the original, than the traditional meaning of that said noun, and this commentator posted a comment saying, "Hey, your post is so great, thanks, I really appreciate your positive feedback. Thank you so much. You're welcome once more. My question is that can we write these phrases in formal writing as a whole?" So basically the question is, can we use these pretty much informal expressions and phrases and collocations in formal writing, right? And here's the thing, I have a big problem with formal writing. Why? Because I strongly believe that people make it deliberately too formal. It's too difficult to read, and I notice it quite often in my work when I have to read some correspondence. It's oftentimes worded in a very awkward way. You can see that that person's tried very hard to make it sound very official, very formal, but it's hard to read. And here is what the whole thing is boiling down to. You have to write so that someone else can read it fluently, with ease, without much thinking what you were trying to convey in the piece of writing. And that's why formal writing, for the most part, is somewhat more difficult to understand. And answering the question, can we use these phrases in formal writing? Personally, how I would go about the whole thing is I would dismiss the concept of formal writing as such. I would dismiss it completely for a number of reasons, right? Reason number one, if you approach writing as something special and you will kind of purposefully try to construct sentences on a piece of paper, or whether you're typing or whatever, obviously nowadays probably people use electronic devices more than a pen and paper, but to be honest with you, I'm still a big fan of pen and paper, and sometimes I spend hours writing stuff in my notebooks and planning things. But anyway, let's not get swerved off the topic. Let's go back to the original question. Basically, the reason number one was, if you make real effort to make your piece of writing sound formal, sooner or later you'll start analyzing the whole thing, and as soon as the analysis steps in, your fluency runs a risk of going out the window completely. Basically, you can't risk messing up your mind. Once you've gotten into this fluent mindset, I apologize, my voice got a bit husky, so I had to clear my throat, right? So basically, the moment you start analyzing, you start purposefully creating sentences in an artificial manner, so to speak, you run the risk of getting into the fluency issues, whereby when you speak with somebody, you will kind of feel the same way as you were writing that formal piece of writing, and you just won't be able to speak fluently. I suggest that you write the same way you speak. Imagine that you're speaking as you approach the whole writing thing. And that's what I do personally. When I write all these articles for my blog, I just allow my fingers to be outlets to my mouth, kinda. I speak in my brain, or sometimes I even speak out loud when I type up things on my laptop, right? I just kind of speak and transfer all that content in a written format, but I don't construct, as a proper pronunciation, right? I don't construct some artificial sentences just for the sake of making them sound more formal, I don't do it, and I warmly suggest you do the same thing. So that's the reason number one why I want you to forget about the concept of formal written English, because it will facilitate analysis, and the moment you start analyzing your English too much, you may run the risk of losing your fluency, or at least having a bad detrimental effect on your fluency. And the second reason is what I said in the beginning of the video. If you write differently to the way you speak, right, other people may find your writing difficult to understand. And a vivid example is a letter I got to read about a week ago in my workplace. It was written in a formal way, so it's basically a petition. It's a formal letter to some high-standing government official that's going to be sent by our company, and everyone is kind of participating in the whole thing, the employees of the company. And I got to read the letter, and I could clearly see that people having written the letter have written it to conform to certain written language standards, right? But it's not easy to read, it's not easy to understand. You have to read it through twice to kind of get the whole message. I would have rephrased and reworded the whole letter in a much simpler way, in a more colloquial, informal way, if you like. But basically, I don't buy into the division between formal and informal. To me, a language is a language, right? English is English. You use the English language, and obviously, for as long as you don't use heavy slang in your English, you are totally fine to say certain things out loud and use them in written English with no worries whatsoever that someone is going to deem your writing be of a lesser quality. And if they do, let that be their issue, because you can't escape the fact that some people will always judge you, right? But as far as I'm concerned, there is no such thing as formal language and informal. You have to write the way you speak, and you speak the way you write. English language is one big thing. And these idiomatic expressions and collocations and phrases and idiomatic language can be used in writing very successfully. Just read my blog posts. I'm doing it the whole time. Those blog posts, all those articles, all that text is written with various expressions that I'm using in my daily speech, in my daily conversations with other people. So there is no problem. And I really hope that the message I'm trying to communicate now is going to be conveyed to you successfully, my friend. And especially thanks Bin Tan for asking the question on my blog. And I hope that my answer is going to prove helpful to you. All right? Thanks for watching this video, my friends, and see you soon again. Bye-bye.